Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for clicking on the video. Swimbait 79 here with another new video. And this video is going to talk about my best baits for the month of March. As you know, we just got through most of February. It's still cold in a majority of my area in the PNW. Fish are still able to be caught. They're just really super tough right now. Nonetheless, they will start to awaken. March is another movement month as fish start to begin to wake up out of their slumber from the winter. They will start to go towards their spawning grounds, and they will you will see a lot of fish just marinating up shallow. A lot of times they like to sun themselves and get, pick up some of that sun and get energized, basically. Maybe pick up something to eat before the end of the day or at the start of the day or even during midday. A lot of times when you're in that back skinny water, you will spook a lot of fish. Just keep your eyes open, and you will see a lot more than just not paying attention to your surroundings. I like either cloudy days or sunny days. It don't really matter. I think the fish bite better on the cloudy days. If you have 3 sunny days in a row, you can consider that a warming trend. Other than that, month of March, you can catch some really nice fish this time of the year. Over the years, towards the end of the month, it really starts to pick up. But normally at the beginning of the month, the water is just around, close to 50, if not, 45 to 50 degrees normally. I think right now, technically, most of the water temps are about 42. A majority of the water that I fish here in Washington State is 42 degrees. That's still slightly cold, but the fish, you can still catch the fish if you have the right approach, if you're quiet with it, if you're patient, and you have a little bit of know-how. You can definitely locate some fish and catch some fish. The baits that I pick are the baits that work for me. What works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for me. Just understand that. This is just what's worked for me over the last 20 years. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm going to start to release a bunch of pictures of past fish that I've caught. And we'll just go from there. Hopefully my pictures will explain what type of fish I mess with and what kind of fish I tend to catch. And you'll start to understand the reasons why I throw the baits that I throw compared to other folks throwing other baits. A lot of times I will not even throw any of these baits, and I'll just pick up that 10-inch mag draft or 8-inch mag draft, and I will just throw that the entire month. A lot of times that's last year I had to discipline myself to get in that mind frame to not go for any of these baits, just go for the big bait. Again, this year I'm probably going to be doing that, incorporating a few new bigger baits or big baits that I've picked up in the off season. But more or less it's going to be mag draft, and then for at least the next foreseeable future. But anyway, nonetheless, let's go ahead and kick this video off with my best 5 baits for the month of March. Again, these are baits that work for me. Last 20 years, I've done some damage. I've caught some very nice fish. So here we go. First bait is going to be a jerkbait. I'm a pretty big jerkbait guy. I hadn't always been a big jerkbait guy. Nonetheless, jerkbait is a very universal lure. You can catch fish on it in all 50 states. I said fish, not bass, but it is just a flat out fish catcher. Up here in the PNW, I catch a ton of trout this time of the year on the jerkbait. Even when the water gets a little bit warmer and they start stocking all these lakes around, oh yeah, I catch a lot of trout on these jerkbaits. It's crazy. My preferred jerkbait is going to be the Strike King KVD 300 and the Strike King KVD 300 or 200. 200 has 2 hooks and the 300 has 3 hooks. Depending on the line size you put on these will dictate how deep it goes. I tend not to go any less than 6-pound line, 6-pound mono to 6-pound fluorocarbon. I tend not to throw these on straight braid just due to the fact that I hate when the hook will hook the braid and tear it, rip it, get caught in it, all types of stupid stuff. I just noticed it has a hook broken on here. Yep. Throw that bait. But nonetheless, a jerkbait, Strike King, 6 to 8 pound, preferably for the 200 series. I will go 8 to 10. I even throw a 12-pound fluorocarbon on this on my actual jerkbait rod, and I do that because I fish a majority of the year. I fish a single lake, and it's called Lake X. That's not the real name of it, but that's what I gave it, just because I don't want to really kill that lake, but I still want to fish that lake, so I'm just going to make up a fake name for that lake. If you're a true fan of me and my type of fishing and my channel, you'll definitely know the name of that lake. You could even do a little bit of research on my channel and find out the name of that lake easily. But I've had one of my best days of bass fishing with a jerkbait. Not in the month of March, but I've caught some very big fish with it. When I first started out, I never really understood how to work and utilize one of these baits. But it is a fish catcher, I got to tell you that. My favorite colors is going to be this. I think it's a sexy shad something. Clear sexy shad or something like that. It's one of my go-to colors, long as the water clarity is at least 2 to 4 foot. If you got more clarity, it's even better, especially if the sun's poking out. This is going to be a bait that I tie on. This coloration is a color that I'm going to tie on if the sun's shining. Once it gets down to about 4 to 6 foot, the 300, these little things are sparkling. You could easily see that. Definitely attracts the fish. This is another bait. I can't remember the name of it, but it's coloration. I have crankbait, square bills. I have a bunch of topwaters. It's just a typical Strike King KVD coloration. Sexy shad something. I'm going to be throwing that, when it's, partly sunny, partly cloudy. Even just clean water on a bright sunny day. That would be my go-to. Now when it's dark, rainy, overcast, I'm going to go with a bright colored lure. It just gets the job done. I can't remember the name of this color either. But nonetheless, a jerkbait is an awesome, awesome lure to catch a lot of fish with. I throw it on a spinning outfit rigged with 6 to 8 pound monofilament. This is a KVD 300 in the clear IU color. It's got some hook rash. It's well used. I have a suspend dot, which is made out of lead. You can kind of play with the fall rate of this bait. You can make it sink if you needed it to sink. But nonetheless, that spinning reel has an awesome drag on it. Just make sure your drag's set. This is my jerkbait setup right here. If you've seen my past videos, you know that this is my jerkbait rod. It's a Shimano, upside down Shimano Caius, however you say that. It's a let's see, a 6'8". Yes, a 6'8" medium action rod. It's fast. Is perfect. It's a 150 size reel that comes with it. The reel is the main part of it, but the rod is pretty dang phenomenal for being a combo I found at Walmart. $96 for this combo, and I've made it specifically my go-to jerkbait rod. Now the gear ratio is a little faster than what I really wanted, 7-2-1, but it's not too bad. I would really prefer a 6-8-1 or a 6-5-1 for a jerkbait, just so I wouldn't work it too terribly fast. Even a 7-1 gear ratio is perfect. The length of this rod is 6'8". 7 foot medium action rod. You're probably going to slap water on the front bow of your boat, or you'll hit your boat, break your rod, or break tip. Just keep those things in mind when you're shopping for your new jerkbait setup. I have a 6 Sense 106 Provoke. I think that's in the wasabi color. It's a dang good jerkbait. They knocked the snot out of it. But nonetheless, I've had some hellacious days at Lake X. That video will be coming soon this spring about the old jerkbait and my day that I had at that lake with a jerkbait. As far as retrieves go, you can just start off with a jerk, pause, jerk, jerk, pause, jerk, pause, like a 1-2, 1, 1-2, 1. You can go with a 1-3-1, or you can go with just a jerk, pause, jerk, jerk, pause, jerk, pause, a 1-2-1. Just kind of play with the cadences to see what the fish want. They will tell you what kind of a cadence they want, the bait. But when you stop and pause, you really can't move that rod. You got to just sit there. That's why you see me aggressively jerking the bait downward with my spinning rod and reel. And I'll bomb that bait way out there. A little tip: if you have this on 6 to 8 pound line, the 300, you're gonna have to retie periodically throughout the day just to maximize not casting that bait off. I've casted plenty of those off from not doing that, from the lack of retying. You will definitely need to do that if you're fishing on 6 to 8 pound line. I'm not afraid to tie. I tie a mean ass Palomar knot for most of my baits, if not other than flipping, which I use a Snell knot. But nonetheless, I'm a man of the Palomar knot, firm believer in it. But yes, so retrieve, just kind of play with the cadences. When a fish bites and hooks up with you, make sure you remember what kind of a cadence you were doing, so you can duplicate that cadence and try to duplicate the bite itself. Best times for a jerkbait is really all day long. There's really not a bad time to throw a jerkbait. You can't go wrong with it. Whether it's a spinning rod or a bait caster. Just pick up your favorite jerkbait and get to fishing it. Get to learn the jerkbait. Play with the cadences. Alright, so that's bait number 1 done. Next bait is going to be a crankbait. And I have a few baits there. I have the lipless crankbait. I have the square bill, the shallow square bill, and then I have just a normal square bill. I have a flat-sided crankbait as well. Really, for this crankbait, for the bait number 2, you get to pick which one you want to utilize. I use different ones for different scenarios. Most of the time when I use the crankbait in the month of March, most of the time it's not going to be my number 1 search bait. Most of the time it's going to be post-frontal conditions. So bright sun, that's when I'm going to pick this up or the jerkbait up. When it's cloudy, I'm going to try to go with one of these bigger baits, whether it's Swimbait, Spinnerbait. But when it's sunny, bright sun, they don't really want the spinnerbait so much. So I'm going to go ahead and try to work off of either the jerkbait or the crankbait. But back to the crankbait. If you have tons of grass, you can never go wrong with the lipless crankbait or a rattle trap, also known as. One of my favorite companies is once again going to be the old Strike King company. This one's a 3/4 ounce. You can never go wrong with the red craw color. That is a standby color, whether it's in the fall, summer, or the spring, or the winter. It's really a year-round color. Really shines in the springtime as the crawfish start to wake up, and the fish wake up, and the fish want to start eating these. As they're starting to come out, and they start to mold from black and blue to bright red. So that's why the bass are really looking for the red color. I do change out the stock hooks and the split rings of all my crankbaits. I normally change the split rings to a owner hyper wire that's rated at least 50 to 65 pound braid, or 50 to 65 pound breaking strength. So if I ever catch a 10 or double digit or a 10 pounder on this, or even just a gigantic fish, less likely to have that split ring straighten out. I like the J-bend round bend hooks. These are 3 times strong, made by Eagle Claw. I don't have many problems with these. I do like the short shank triple grips or extra wide gap short shanks. Those are pretty good on rattle traps as well. Really, the choice is yours. I like those packs of the red hooks in sizes, you know, like at least 4, 6, and 8. 2s I use on like a 1 ounce bait. So Strike King, a couple of those red eye shad are my go-tos. Before I show you this bait, we'll go back to the red eye shad. This is a sexy shad, red eye shad. Listen to that noise. Now this is the same bait, but it's got a 2-tap to it. So we're going to go ahead and check this out. Could mean the difference of you catching some fish and not catching fish. If you have grass, these are my #1 choice. If you have big old long grass flats and you need to cover water quickly, you can easily burn these through there, around there. You can yo-yo them. You could just slow retrieve them. You could rip them. You can do all types of stuff. These are very, very nice search lures, search baits to use, especially in the early spring. Late winter, early spring. Yeah. Can't go wrong with it. The old 2-tap. Sometimes that means the difference of getting bit and not getting bit. Alright, so that's lipless crankbaits out of the way. We're still in the crankbait category. So we're going to go to shallow square bill. And I mean skinny shallow. This is going to be your Bandit Footloose. Right here, it goes less than a foot of water. I tend to fish it on 8-pound fluorocarbon to 6-pound fluorocarbon monofilament if you have that. If you don't want to pay the extra for the fluorocarbon, but they will flat out smoke this bait right here. This other one is a Strike King 1XS, stands for 1 extra shallow. It goes no less than a foot, or no deeper than a foot of water. So 12 inches. You fish that on a 8-pound line, 6-pound mono. Oh yeah, up shallow. The bills are very brittle on these baits, so if you do ever find one of these baits, to be careful because the bills are very breakable. Do not slap these on the water either. They will break the bill that way. So that's your shallow water square bill or ultra shallow. These are just a little something I wanted to show you guys. These are baby -1s made by Mans. All of these are like close to 20 years old. They all go basically a foot less than a foot. Most of them weigh 3/8 to a half ounce, so they're very castable, whether on spinner rod or bait cast gear. These other ultra shallow ones are super light. I think they all weigh 1/4 ounce, so they're better to be thrown on the Fairy Wand spinning gear than bait cast gear. You can change the split rings and upsize the hooks one size on those super shallow ones to give you a little bit more of a casting weight to be able to put it on bait cast gear with maybe 10-pound line. But far as the just normal size square bill, that deflects off of stuff. There's so many different companies that make these nowadays. I like the Movement 80X made by 6 Cents. It is a very different crankbait, and it gets bit. I catch some very nice quality fish on this bait. This is I can't remember the company on this. Oh, there it is, Excalibur. This is a silent bait. Nothing. So rattles or no rattles. Sometimes that could be the difference of getting bit. Smallmouth will tear this bait up. I tell you that straight up. I throw it on bait cast gear. It'll chew that up. This 6 Cents isn't bad. I want to show you guys something with this 6 Cents. Now, this is the Gillikin color. This is after 1 season of fishing this bait. It's the same bait as this, the 80 Movement X. Goes 1 to 3 foot. But there's the action on it. And that's that Gillikin color. Ben Milliken making up a bluegill color, and they come up with the hybrid name of Gillikin. Yeah, that thing's chewed up. It got hook rash, but it's chewed up. I got a brand new one to use, but just had to show you guys that. And this one's starting to get a little hook rash on it, but I've caught some very nice 4+ pound fish on this. But this one, I caught some very nice, like all 4-pound sack of fish. Very good. All right, so, and I throw these all on most of the heavier ones, like these ones, I'll throw on the medium heavy, 7-foot medium heavy bait cast gear with 17-pound fluorocarbon. A lot of people be like, that's too heavy. These baits weigh 5/8 of an ounce. Most of your crankbaits are going to weigh 3/8 to a half ounce. These are beefed up crankbaits, so you can beef up your gear a little bit more. Anything over 7 foot, medium heavy, perfect for that type of a larger size square bill. Even the rattle trap. Rattle trap I throw usually on this 3/4. I'll throw on a heavy 7/6 rod or a 7/6 medium heavy rod. The shorter ones or smaller half-ounce ones I'll throw on a 7-foot medium heavy rod, just like this. Just your typical all-round rod. This is a Rapala something. I can't remember the names of them. But yes, I throw it on 50-pound braid on a Vengeance rod made by Abu Garcia with a Pro Qualifier reel. It's a flat-out go-getter. I think this is like a $50 rod at Walmart. You can easily go and pick it up. It has a very nice load to it. Whether it's a treble hook or a frog or whatever it may be, it's just a great all-around rod. Places to throw those, there's really just cover water with it. It's a wonderful search bait, especially when the sun's shining. It's one of my favorite search baits. All right, so that was bait number 2. Bait number 3, we're going to move on to. Bait number 3 is probably one of my biggest baits for the month of March. I catch probably most of my fish in the month of March on this next bait, the spinnerbait. Whether you got muddy water, whether you got semi stained water, or you got gin clear water, a spinnerbait, you cannot go wrong with it. It's a pretty versatile bait. There's many different ways you can fish it. Just understand this, that one of these retrieved in, you will, if you make this look like something's wrong with it, you will get more bites with it rather than just cast it out there and wind it in. Cast it out there and just wind it in, you're not going to get as many bites as you cast it out there, shake it, twitch it, jerk it, shake it, twitch it, jerk it, make it look erratic, make it look like something wrong with it. It can be painstakingly, take a toll on your body as you're looking like a jackknob out there getting crazy with the freaking spinnerbait. But if you can practice it a little bit and kind of get to know your spinnerbait on what it does and what it can and cannot do, it will be better and run. Far as companies, types of spinnerbaits, I like just the start off with the Colorado blades in water that's less than 50 degrees. Once that water gets up to 50 degrees, I like to use the tandem where it has one willow and one Colorado, which I don't have one up there right now. Nonetheless, over the years, I kind of gotten away from throwing a traditional tandem spinnerbait, and I just kind of go with a bigger bodied spinnerbait. Over the years, I've kind of shied away from throwing the 3/8 to 1/2 ounce ones. I like to really throw bigger baits, bigger spinnerbaits, whether they're 3/4, 1 ounce like this that I make myself. I just change the blades out. I buy an oversized spinnerbait, a bottom dweller, 1 ounce, and I put 3 blades on it. I bought the big bluegill one. It's just a sexy bait right there. But blade combination, really, once the water gets up above 50 degrees, you can't go wrong throwing this double willow. Once your water is below 50 degrees, I like throwing stuff like this. Or stuff like this. Just a single Colorado or 2 Colorados, like a 5 and a 6. Or you can go with the traditional Indiana. This is a 3/8 Strike King spinnerbait. It's really up to you. I like to go with the bigger baits. Once the water gets up above 60 degrees, you start whacking them. Usually 58 degrees is usually the key number for the spinnerbait bite to really start happening. 56 to 58 degrees. You can cover and catch a lot of fish, especially in one little area. It's like a vacuum at times, especially when you have the right color. Colors of spinnerbaits. This is called Pro's Choice, made by War Eagle. This is a 1/2 ounce model. Or maybe it's a 3/4. It's a 3/4 ounce model. I like the Pro's Choice color. This is it right here. Brand new in the package. 1/2 ounce. Our local Bass Pro Shop. There's Pro's Choice right there. Our local Bass Pro Shop does not carry 3/4 ounce in the War Eagle, so I have to order them, which is just awesome. Thank you, Bass Pro Shop. Anyway, so 3/4 ounce is usually what I like to throw. I kind of like I said, I gotten away from throwing the smaller size spinner baits. When the water is above 60 degrees, I tend to kind of switch away from some of those and go to some of these specialty type of spinner baits, like this War Eagle Wake spinnerbait. It's one of my favorite over the past years. Whether you want to wake this right below the surface or you just want to fish this like a normal spinnerbait, either or, this spinnerbait will get wrecked. I've gone through a lot of these this last year. I've caught some whales on them. I always rig them up with I never really throw a spinnerbait without a trailer hook. The only time I throw a spinnerbait without a trailer hook is if I have a soft plastic trailer on it. And really, I only do that to kind of beef up a spinnerbait or be able to fish a spinnerbait in, complete cover, like heavy wood cover, whatever it may be. So spinnerbaits, if you have stained water, you can never go wrong with the chartreuse and white. I couldn't tell you honestly why the chartreuse and white works so good, but it does. Even here in Washington, we don't have shad. We don't have shad in most of our lakes that we have. Most of our lakes are going to have bluegill, yellow perch, and trout. This is for like super gin clear water. I'm gonna tie that on and put that on. For baits under half ounce and under, I'm gonna go ahead and fish out on like a 7-foot medium heavy with probably 15 to 17 pound fluorocarbon. For the 3/4 and the 1 ounce spinner baits, I'm gonna beef it up, jump up to a 7'6" medium heavy, and fishing 20 pound fluorocarbon on that rod. I kind of prefer that over the years. Over the last at least 4 or 5 years, I've preferred to throw all my spinner baits on a 7'6" rod. So I tend to buy 3/4 ounce or bigger, or I make them. Easily, I could throw this on the 7-foot medium heavy rod. You could throw even this one. When I'm having trouble, when it's super cold in the springtime, this is a War Eagle special right here, called a War Eagle Get 5 Quick. It's a finesse spinnerbait made by War Eagle. Sexy Shad, or the what is this? Sexy Shad, or I can't remember the damn name of it. Anyway, it's a very color. Looks similar to the Sexy Shad. It's on the East Coast. It's a bait fish. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, nonetheless, it's very translucent. It just gets bit. I'll throw it. It weighs 5/16 ounce. I'll throw this on 17 pound fluorocarbon. I'll put a trailer hook on it. Now, as far as the trailer hooks go, these are Gamakatsu trailer SPs. Let me show you how I put these on. Because a lot of people put these on and they put them on wrong, in my opinion. But everybody's different. It may not work for you. So let's go ahead and grab that one straight up out of the package. Brand new. Okay. I like the red. For all my baits and sizes of the baits, I tend to always go with the 3/0. Over the years, I don't buy the 1/0, 2/0 anymore. I just buy 3/0. Adds a little bit of weight. It's perfect. But let's go ahead and take this spinnerbait out. Brand new in the package. Go ahead and take out one of these trailer hooks. They come 5 to a pack. Throw the spinnerbait down. Let's go ahead and grab this fingernail. And be careful not to hook yourself, but we're going to go ahead and pop this off, just like so. Now you're going to put this on first, the hook. So it's on there, just like that. And then you're going to put this keeper on. We're going to poke this keeper right in the center of the keeper. And watch yourself when you hook, when you push this through, because you can hook yourself either on the hook that you're messing with, or the trailer hook. Don't hook yourself. But there you go. Now this bait has a trailer hook that is free swinging. So all those short strikers that you come across are going to get hooked. They will get fooled on this. This War Eagle spinnerbait skirt is just phenomenal. It has a long tag tail, so you don't have to worry about like putting the soft plastic or them seeing that extra hook, they don't see nothing. They come up and eat it, swat at it, they're going to get hooked. That's ready to kill right now. That's how I rig up my spinnerbait trailer hooks. So hopefully some of you guys will be able to utilize that. It's a game changer. You're gonna get hooked on stuff regardless. So I tend to always throw the trailer hook on it. Once again, the only time I do not throw it is when I have a soft plastic trailer on there. But normally, I go with the freaking trailer hook. I just feel way more comfortable with it than without it. But this big bluegill spinnerbait, I'll catch a freaking hog this October or this March. I guarantee it. It's a beautiful bait. It's that bottom dweller 1 ounce spinnerbait made to be slow rolled on the bottom. I take the blades off. I put 3 big old freaking blades on there. After researching that or looking at it closer, those blades are the same size. And then I got a big old number 5 on there. So there's got to be 3 or 4. Not sure. Yeah, it looked like a 3.5 or something. So 2 3.5s and a 5 on a 1 ounce bait. And you got to kind of play with the spacing on there to get the right kind of vibration and get all the blades to turn at the same time, which isn't too easy. It takes a few times to get used to, but nonetheless, it's very doable. So that's spinnerbaits. That's going to be the third bait. Next bait is going to be Swimbait. Now, swimbaits anywhere from 2.5 inch all the way up to 10 inch, 12 inch, whatever whatever you want to throw. I tend to mess with baits, 8 to 10 inch range. I used to throw these on open jig heads, like some of y'all. It was just one of those things that I learned right away. You can, if you don't have a lot of cover in your lakes, I highly suggest it fishing these open jig head type of swim baits and setups, whether on spinning gear or bait cast gear. I go ahead and cut that first little notch off so it's flush. Measure this up to it. Put your finger there. Make a little scratch on there to make sure that where you know where to come out at. Make sure this is straight on. There it is. Rig that up. Push it up on his head. That's going to be good to go. Looks to be pretty straight. The bait's been reused before. But you can easily utilize a drop of super glue on the barb. Push that up. Hold that down for a second. As that super glue sets, you're ready to rock and roll. You could chuck and wind that. You could catch multiple fish on that before they actually bite the tail off and render the bait useless. That's if you don't have a lot of cover. If you have a lot of cover, this is what I recommend doing, is getting a big swim bait, a big hook, put it on a big rod with big line, and go for big fish. This is a 10-aught owner flashy swimmer hook that I have modified, taking that little weak ass wire off of it, put some top of the line split rings on there with a little piece of an old spinnerbait, and then I put an oversized old spinnerbait blade on there. It's the razor blade from Strike King, but nonetheless I put that on there. I throw on the Strike King 7.8 inch swim bait boot tail. And that thing is weedless. I could fish that wherever I want to. I could leave it like that, and every few casts you'll have it come back like this. You have to push that up there, or you can even tuck that hook point inside the body so it's really completely weedless. I have to fix that a little bit better before I got to chucking the line in that. But you get my point. I will fish this on a 710 heavy action extra fast rod, spooled up with 25-pound fluorocarbon or 80-pound braid. More or less, I do the 80-pound braid later in the summer because then I could utilize that rod also as oversized topwaters, not just swim baits when I have the fluorocarbon on there. I run the 25-pound fluorocarbon on this 7.8. Do not set your drag too tight. You will snap them off. You have to check your knot multiple times throughout the day when you're throwing this rig because you're casting it so hard. At least I am. Other than that, just a good old Palomar knot, and I'm not afraid to retie my swim baits at all. The Kitech 7.8. This is an electric shad. Is this color electric shad? It's a wonderful color. I tend to like it for the sun. Anytime the sun's out, I'm gonna be throwing this color. When it's overcasted, I like the sexy shad color. That's gonna be this. I don't know what it is, but with that water clarity over there at Lake X, you can't beat that sexy shad 7.8. Yep, this right here. The swim bait itself weighs about an ounce. This hook has a half-ounce weight, but I've kind of upsized so it weighs a little bit more. It's still under fairly, like this whole thing is just under an ounce and 3/4 in weight. A lot of people kind of hoot and holler and saying, "Oh, that's too big of a bait to be throwing." No, you'd be surprised. The type of fish that I get bit from with this 7.8 right here on this Magnum underspin, on average 3 to 5 pound bites I get on this. The biggest I caught on this is a 6.5. That was just 2 years ago when I first started throwing it. But this coloration when it's cloudy is the #1 color, and I think it's the bottom sparkle stuff that really pops when there's cloud cover. Some other colors that are really good to mention is going to be your Pro Blue Red Pearl color, 7.8 color. I like how that looks, especially when it's overcasted. I do throw the 6.8 as well. Here's electric shad and the easy shiner. These are a true 8-inch bait. They're just a little bit thinner profile. As far as that is, and the reason I fish this so much is that I could fish this weedless, and I fish Lake X. Lake X has double digits galore. But yes, I've had some very nice days at Lake X on this bait. I've caught 2 5s and a 4 before. Yeah, I've caught some very nice fish on this bait. Highly recommend looking at that bait. Check out my video on how to modify this little contraption as well. It's just a super simple bait. Super simple little fix. Far as swim baits go, when the bite is really tough, this could very well mean the difference of you getting bit and not getting bit. So I always have this stuff on standby, ready to dip either the head or the tail, depending on what I'm fishing with. And swim baits still. So that was an 8-inch weedless swim bait. My #1 favorite swim bait right now is going to be the 10-inch mag draft. Like this bait, you can't go wrong with it. It's been chewed up. I've caught some whales on it before. Nothing double digit just yet. But believe it or not, I caught a 2-pound bass with this 10-inch mag draft. It's a monster of a bait, weighs 6 ounces. It is definitely have to have specialized gear to be able to throw it, or you're not going to kill yourself by the end of the day. I do like the whole weight system on it. I could kind of speed it up and it won't roll over like that stupid Berkeley coal shad did to me. Other swim baits, I like to utilize the glide baits as well. I like the Bass Pro Shop SPS Swerve glide bait. I also got this one over the Christmas season. This is the 6 Cents Ben Milliken glide bait. I think it's called the Draw. This is the 9-inch Draw. But yes, open hook jig heads. More about swim baits. I like these, even though this is only for a 5.5-inch swim bait. You can utilize the different sizes of this owner flashy hook swim. They have it in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think 12 is the highest and biggest that they go to, and that's 3/4 ounce. This is 1/2 ounce. Utilize super glue to lock it down on the jig heads or the screw locks for the swim baits. Same with the swim baits. If you're going to put them and utilize them on the spinner baits for, soft plastic trailers, a little bit more weight, a little bit more bulk to your bait, get a bigger bite. I do utilize the super glue as well. Alright, so that's the 4th bait. That was the swim bait. The last bait of the day is going to be the first topwater bait that I'm going to talk about. And this is going to be the frog. Now, in the state of Washington, towards the end of March, in the past, from more or less probably about 10 years ago, I started noticing that there's a little window in most years, not always at the end of March. Sometimes it'll be the first week of April. Sometimes they'll come in the 2nd or 3rd week in March on warmer years. But we get this little window of warm weather. Whether it's going to be like 3 days of sun or 7 days or even 10 days of sun. But I'm telling you, some fish are going to move up shallow. Some very large fish towards the end of March. And that's where I'm going to utilize the first topwater bait is going to be a topwater frog. You do not need to fish this super fast. It's going to be a super slow retrieve. You're not overworking it. You're not aggressively working it. Normally my frog retrieve is going to be 3 walks and a pause. 3 walks and a pause. 3 walks and a pause. That's in normal year, like summertime frogging. Early spring, end of March, it's going to be 1 walk, pause. 1 walk, pause. 1 walk, pause. I mean, it was super slow. And in the pauses, sometimes I'll do like a 3 to 10 second pause. But you cannot take your eyes off of the frog. Do not take your eyes off of this guy. As soon as you take your eyes off it, a fish will eat it, and you'll miss that opportunity to crack that fish as hard as you can. I have 2 choices of frogs up here. Poppin' frogs with the cupped lips, whether it's the Strike King Poppin' Perch or if it's the Booyah Poppin' Pad Crusher. Either or, they get bit. I'm not much one for the poppin' type of frogs. I like the pointy nosed frogs. I like to impart the action myself. The side to side sachet walking takes a little bit of time. I call these walking frogs because I have to walk them myself. This is Strike King KVD Sexy Frog. This is a Guggen Squad Frog. This is a well-made frog. This one, you have to kind of squirt water out every once in a while. You got to squeeze it, and I don't prefer to do that, but it is what it is. This is a live target Copper's Frog, 3/4 ounce. This is going to be your Spro King Daddy, made by Dean Rojas, or designed by Dean Rojas. It is a 1 ounce frog, has 6/0 hooks on it. This is the first technique that I learned in bass fishing close to 20 years ago. I pretty much spent the first 3 years of my bass fishing in East Texas perfecting my frog and my style of frogging. It just ate me up mentally. I could not get over the coolness of seeing something explode on one of these frog baits. And that was back in like 06, 05. Come a long ways. Same with frog baits, come a long ways. But you can never go wrong with this Spro Frog. Spro Frog 65. I think this is the 95 King Daddy. It's gets bit. But one of the key things in late March, early spring topwater fishing is to fish your bait slow and have a little bit smaller sized bait. Is one of the other things that can help you get bit. This is a Jackal Kaisera frog, I think. It's got a smaller profile, still packs a punch. You see the hooks, they're premium. Tactical Bassin has talked about this frog a little bit. As far as colors, I can never go wrong with the black frog, brown frog, green frog. I don't think necessarily color really matters. It's more or less action. You used to wait for a count of 2 when the fish bit for you to set the hook. I say you just drop your rod and set the hook right away. If you're finding yourself having trouble hooking up, don't worry. It's not the easiest. It's one of the toughest techniques to learn, is the hook set and timing of the hook set of the frog. It took me quite a bit to figure out the timing. It took me about 8 months to figure out the timing on these frogs. If you're finding yourself having trouble hooking up, do not bend out the hooks on your frog. Do not do that. I hate hearing people and seeing people do that. Just means that my sister can set the hook better than you can. If you have to bend out the hooks on your frogs, just envision my sister setting the hook better than you. You need to reach down and grab you some and set the hook as hard as you can. The frog hook set will teach you a lot about bass fishing and the different styles of hook sets needed for that type of technique. You don't need to do a frog hook set on a spinnerbait or a crankbait. That's not going to work out for you. You're going to have all types of problems. Most of your spinnerbait or most of your swim baits can't be set like that. Definitely a jerkbait. You can't crack a fish like you crack a fish with a frog. This is like come out of your shoes, like get some type of. I grit my teeth when I set the hook. I crack that thing as hard as I can. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Just remember, fish this thing slow. Do not take your eyes off of it, and fish it after that little warming trend that you have come in from it being cold. Definitely some fish will move up shallow. Anytime you can skip these underneath trees in the early year is beneficial. Docks, yeah, they will eat a frog. They will eat a frog in low 50-degree water. But you have to work it slow. You can't expect a whole bunch. But I'm pretty sure the bites that you'll get this time of the year will be big. I caught a 7-pound even largemouth on a Spro 65 black frog one March. Yeah, I think it was March 30th. Lake Dolph in Federal Way / Auburn area in Washington State. If you know, you know. That lake's got some giants in it. That's where my PB frogfishes come from. But nonetheless, it is a very exciting technique and very cool to be able to hook up with a frogfish towards the end of March. Usually into April is frog time. But nonetheless, that's about it for the video. This February wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be. I thought it'd get a little bit better towards the end of the month. That wasn't the case. So that just tells me that March is going to be I'll be expecting quite a bit from the month of March. Some other things for you bladesmen out there and blade women out there that like to throw spinner baits. Highly recommend that you pick up one of these little mini tackle boxes and put all your blades in there from broken spinnerbaits and broken spinnerbait parts. Put them all in there. Bring this with you. The other alternative is the waterproof ones with the little wire or the little rubber sealer thing that keeps water out of there. These are all for my jig heads. Mainly this is for my umbrella rig accessories. But you can utilize one of these for your spinnerbait blades, parts. You can make modifications right there on the water, which are sometimes the best way to do it. I've had friends in the past catch 5-pounders from them putting on a bigger set of blades on their spinnerbait. But nonetheless, I wish nothing but the best for you guys. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate. I got nothing but love for you guys. Better content is coming down the road. It's not too far. It's going to start warming up, and we're going to start whacking some fish. Hopefully everyone's going to catch a new PB this year. Hit that like button. Thank you for watching. Swimbait 79 out.